the man who broke under the sunlight. On a warm June afternoon, as the sun spilled gold over the quiet streets of Westdale, Ethan Foster lost his entire world. His wife, Lily, and 6-year-old son, Noah, never came home that day. The police knocked on his door just before midnight, with solemn eyes and the kind of silence that always comes before devastation. A drunk driver had run a red light and slammed into Lily's car. She had been the careful one, the type who always triple-checked seatbelts and never sped. But that day, care didn't matter. Impact did. Lily died on impact. Noah passed minutes later. After the funeral, Ethan vanished from life. He ignored every call. He left texts from friends and family unread. The curtains stayed drawn, and the house, once filled with Noah's giggles and Lily's humming, became a cold, hollow shell. Friends tried. They really did. But unanswered knocks and unopened emails slowly turned into distant thoughts and fading concern. His mother left long voice messages, pleading for a response. But Ethan had nothing left to say, nothing left to feel, except the crushing weight of absence. 3 months later, neighbors saw him walk barefoot out of the house before dawn. He wandered to the old bridge that stretched across the town's quiet river. Some feared he would jump, but he didn't. He just stood there for hours, then turned around and went home. That night, Ethan dreamed of Noah. In the dream, the boy stood in a playground, bathed in a soft light. He smiled, not a sad smile, but the radiant kind only children give. He waved, then turned and walked away into the light. Ethan woke with tears on his cheeks and a strange tightness in his chest. He didn't want to die anymore. The next day, Ethan stepped outside. He walked to the cafe Lily used to love and sat in her favorite seat. He didn't order anything but water. He didn't talk to anyone, but he was breathing, and for the first time in months, he noticed that he still could. Ethan started writing messy, painful notes in journals, then letters to Noah, then letters to Lily, then letters to himself, the version of him that still remembered how to smile. Writing became his therapy, but real therapy came too. He sat silently through his first few sessions with Margot, a seasoned therapist with a calm voice and kind eyes. She didn't press. She only asked one thing. If Lily and Noah could see you right now, what would they want to see? He didn't answer, but the question haunted him. A year after the accident, Ethan left town. He wasn't running away from grief. He simply couldn't carry it through the same streets anymore. He moved to a coastal city where no one knew his name, and no one looked at him with pity. He rented a small house by the sea and taught writing online to make ends meet. No one called him the widower anymore. He was just Ethan. He kept writing. Every morning, he wrote a letter to Noah. In them, he imagined his son still alive, still asking questions about the stars and superheroes. The letters went into a wooden box, locked and sacred. Whenever his heart grew too heavy, he would read them and remember that love still existed, even if the people were gone. One day, in a writing workshop, Ethan asked his students to write about something you lost but still carry. Their stories stunned him. A mother who lost her child, a man who watched cancer take his wife, a boy who never met his father. Ethan realized he wasn't alone in loss, and that strange realization made the weight easier to bear. 2 years after the accident, Ethan published his first book, Under the Old Sunlight. It was a collection of his letters to Noah, woven with memories, reflections, and moments of raw, quiet pain. The book wasn't a bestseller, but it found its readers. A retired woman wrote him, "I lost my son 40 years ago. Thank you for putting into words what I never could." A college student messaged him, "I almost took my life last winter. Your book changed my mind." Ethan read each message slowly, like a prayer. He didn't know if he had healed, but he knew he was no longer useless. That summer, Ethan returned to Westdale for the first time in years. He brought 2 pots of lavender to Lily and Noah's graves. He sat there quietly, then began talking to them about the sea, about his students, about the little book that traveled farther than he ever could. The breeze picked up. The sky turned the soft blue of childhood memories. Just before he left, he whispered, "I haven't forgotten, but I've learned how to live with remembering." Back in his coastal town, Ethan got a small tattoo on his wrist, 3 circles interlocked. It was for them, always them. No one ever asked what it meant, but he smiled every time he looked at it. His life never went back to what it was, but he didn't want it to, because after all the breaking, something softer and strangely stronger had taken root inside him.